Denny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Dalton Smith, one of the UK's most celebrated prospects currently. How are you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad. Just I'm in camp now, so we had a little Christmas dinner, a few little treats, but other than that, it's just camp life as usual.
And you're in camp now. When do you expect to next be out?
Hopefully, sure, at the end of January or beginning of February. We're just waiting on some confirmation. Hopefully, we should know in the next week or so. But should hopefully be on one of those dates.
Given everything that's going on with all sports at the moment, how fortunate do you feel now that you're able to get out twice in 2020?
Yeah, obviously, I'm one of the lucky ones. There's a lot of, especially the small hole fighters where, they haven't been able to fight this year. And, I can imagine it's frustrating for him because even though I've been out twice, it's been frustrating for me. I haven't been as active as I'd have liked to have been, but, it's with the circumstances, what everybody's living with at the minute. I'm one of the lucky ones.
And you talked about kind of not being out as much as you like, but one of the two outings you did have was at fight camp, the first week of fight camp. You had a lot of people, observers, raving about you after that performance against Nathan Bennett. It was a step up, certainly on paper, but you made it look relatively comfortable and exciting too, which is obviously important. How did you find the whole experience, especially there being no fans in attendance?
Yeah, obviously it was something different. And, everybody who watched fight camp, you seen for yourself how good the setup was and what Matchroom and Eddie Earn did. It was unbelievable. So in itself, that was an experience. And, Nathan Bennett would have been a fight what I'd have had in, one more fight, two more fights. But with the fight camp circumstances, we had to take those fights. And, obviously it was a step up for me in my career. And, I knew I had to perform that night. And, I put a great performance in.
Have you watched it back since? Were you kind of, when you watch your fights back, are you kind of more impressed than you were the first time? Are you quite self-critical? How does that process work?
To be honest, I usually watch it once and then that's it. But I always watch back and I think, wait, I should have done this, I should have done that. But I think as a fighter, you've got to be critical on yourself because, there's always room for improvement. I'm early on in my career and, I'm going to have much harder fights out there. And, I've got to watch them back and see what I've got to put right.
You're developing a very impressive rate. You're in such a good gym as well. That must be a big bonus to your development because at this stage of your career, no disrespect to Nathan Bennett and the guys you fought previously, you must be getting better work and learning more in the gym than you are in the ring at this stage.
Of course, yeah. Obviously my dad's my coach at Steel City and the setup we've got down there and the team and the bond we've got that, it all works well and it comes together and, I've got a great management team, promotional team behind me. All those click together and gel well. And, I think I'm very lucky to be in the position I'm in at the stage of my career for it to take off in the next couple of years.
And talking of the next couple of years, we'll look at next year specifically. I say that I don't know when this video is going to go out. It probably will be 2021 as it's New Year's Eve today as we record it. Where do you see yourself by the end of next year, assuming you're able to get out as much as you'd like to? English title, British title, what are you sort of looking at by the end of 2021?
That's it. That's the route what I want to be going down towards the English and, push on for a British title shot next year. But obviously I've got to get myself in the position to be eligible to fight for that. But, obviously we're still in a pandemic and we don't know what's going to happen with the new rules and stuff. So we've got to take every fight at a time and, try and not rush things because, in a couple of months, it could be in a totally position that everybody's in now. So, I think we've got to take it day by day, month by month. But, I want to try and be more active this year, which I think, touch wood, that's what will happen. And, every fight's a step up for me. I want to hopefully get some sort of title for my next fight, maybe a youth title, international or something. So, my team's working on that. But other than that, it's, I'm young. I ain't got to rush things.
How confident are you in terms of weight that where you are now is going to be roughly where you are when you start challenging for championships? Because you're 23, you may have stopped growing frame-wise, but you're probably still filling out a bit.
Of course, yeah, I've still got maturing to do. Obviously, I'm quite mature for the weight and strong for the weight, but I'm 23. I'm going to have another growth spurt. I'm going to fill out more into the weight. So obviously, this comes over time and. I believe when by the time next year comes, when I'm pushing towards a British title, and I've got the rounds under my belt, I think my ability is there now, to beat the guys out there. But in the professionals, it's a business and it's a totally different game to the amateurs. And I've just got to learn to become a 12-round fighter.
Now, recently, you've been doing some sparring with Luke Campbell ahead of his big fight this Saturday against Ryan Garcia. Just tell us how that came about and how it kind of helps you in terms of a measuring stick to that world level.
Yeah, well, I sparred Luke on the GB days when I was like 17, but I was a young boy then. But then the sparring came about with obviously StM, my management company. They announced that they launched their company, and Shane got in touch with Paul Reddy and Sean O'Toole and invited us down for a spar. And then I ended up staying there for a couple of weeks and being the main sparring partner.
And how did you find it? Because like you said, you sparred before when you were very young. How did you find, A, that he'd improved since then and adapted to the pro style, I guess, and also how you've come on?
Of course, we both improved massively, from the first spars. But, they're very good spars, and, Shane will say the same. And, there was very good spars, and I think I was a perfect sparring partner for the Garcia fight. And obviously I learnt loads. I was doing a lot of rounds with him. And I learned loads going down there. They made me feel welcome, and the spar was good. I learned loads from it.
And what you said, obviously, great sparring for Ryan Garcia. You're quite similar styles, but were you asked to kind of adapt a little bit to make yourself even more similar to him, or did you just go in and do your own style as normal?
Yeah, just my own style. Obviously, off my own back, I wanted to help Luke. So obviously, I try and imitate a few of his little moves, but basically Shane just said go in there and try and hurt Luke as much as you can, because obviously that's what the fight's going to be like. So I just went in there, just tried doing a little, a few moves what Ryan Garcia does to help Luke out, but other than that, I tried to not complicate it too much for myself, and I just went in there and just with my own style.
And what did it tell you about where you sit in terms of your development? Because you said earlier you feel you've got the ability now, it's just about getting the rounds under your belt. Did that kind of reaffirm it, the fact that you were able to hang in there with someone of Luke's level, world title challenger?
Yeah, to be honest, I was sparring 8 rounds with Luke, more spars, and it was 50-50 most all the way through. So obviously I know my ring fitness is there, but I've just got to make sure I can do that on fight night, and getting the quality sparring with Luke and people like that. That's the best way to learn, with like hard quality sparring.
You've obviously not sparred Ryan Garcia, so it's not comparing apples with apples. But what do you make of Luke's chances on Saturday night? It seems from everyone I've spoken to be a genuine 50-50 fight.
Yeah, I think it's obviously it is a 50-50 fight on paper, but you've got to look back at what Luke's accomplished and achieved, and the people he's been in with. Ryan Garcia was a good amateur, but not on the level what Luke was on. And the opposition and the professionals, Ryan Garcia hasn't got a patch on Luke's. And you look at the performances. I thought personally Luke beat Linares on a close fight. So, we'll obviously see on the weekend, but I think I honestly believe Luke's going to win the fight.
You spoke about your management team earlier, StM, who've recently launched. Just tell us, first of all, why you joined up with them, and then what it means to you that you were one of the first guys to go with them. It says a lot about their faith in you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, to be honest, my relationship come with Sean O'Toole, who's part of the STN team, and I built a relationship up when he was at a different company through the amateurs. We just literally become friends, just talked about how he could help me. And Sean was never one to push me towards the professionals. He wanted me to follow the Olympic route. But obviously with the circumstances, with the injuries and the weights, I turned over, and it was earlier than expected. And Sean's been part of my team since day one, and I couldn't ask for any better from him. He's him and Paul Reddy from STN. They're the good people, and they're in it for the right reasons. And I believe they're the right people to guide my career. And I'm looking forward to it. And with us being a close team, a close knit team, I think that's what you need to reach the top.
What things will change that people might notice, the fact that you've linked up with a management company now? So from the outside, will anything change?
Sean's always been my manager from day one. It's just they set this new company up now, and obviously that's who he runs under. So Sean's always run everything through my career. And obviously now it's a company what's set up, and more fighters will be joining, and I believe it'll be one of the best, one of the great companies out there in the next couple of years, or if not even sooner.
And that's helpful, presumably, in terms of, you know, maneuvering you into the fights you want to have, sponsorship and endorsements, that kind of thing. And also just taking some of the pressure off you, and you can just focus purely on the training and the fighting.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, you see a lot of fighters what are self-managed, more so when they reach the highest stage of their career. But at the end of the day, I'm in this game and I'm just there to fight. You know, I don't want none of the stresses outside of the ring. You know what's going to affect any fights, any camps, and you know that's why I leave everything to my dad, Sean, Paul, already at StN. And you know, it's the easier life is for me outside of the ring, the better I'm going to perform.
Everyone is talking about you, particularly in British boxing circles, as being a hot prospect, can't miss prospect, which is always one of those touch wood moments. But how do you manage to keep your feet on the ground? Because you've always seemed very down to earth.
Yeah, you know, I've always been the same. You know, I treat everyone how I'd like to be treated. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just a fighter. And if, obviously, I work hard, and I believe if I work hard that, you know, I'll achieve what I've set out to do. And, you know, it's at the end of the day, I'm no better than anybody else. So I'm just in a sport where, you know, I want to achieve great things. And obviously, I believe I'm going to achieve those, and I'm still going to be the same person. It's not going to change me.
Great stuff. Well, really appreciate your time. Look forward to getting a date announced for your next one, and we'll be watching with interest.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Oh, man. Thank you, Danny.